Knicks at home, a chance to advance to the second round, and instead, the Knicks took it upon themselves, specifically their two best players, Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns, to have their worst games of the season at the same time. They both have had games that are worse this season, but they haven't had a game this season where they were both terrible at the same game.
Right.
And they were both terrible.
Sports and culture all in one. Catch the fire, feel the fun. Andrew Sistad, Brad unite. Philly and Y in the spotlight.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 43. The New York Knicks just couldn't make it easy. They ruined our plans. We had a plan to hold off the recording of this episode until after Game 5. We would recap the series, we preview the Celtics series, and nope, Knicks couldn't make it easy. They had to go back to Detroit to try to win there. So welcome to the episode, everyone. We're going to be talking Knicks, mostly Knicks. We'll get into a little bit about the NBA. We'll talk about the very near short-term future of the podcast. A couple of things are changing for the next couple of weeks. We'll get into that. We are going to, of course, get into subscriber questions. Where do you want to start? Let's get on.
I'm excited to talk about this hoop series with you. I got your notes for the breakdown of the episode, and I didn't see anywhere where we talked about the Eagles drafting of Drew Kendall, the guard from Boston College, with their 5th round pick. So I wasn't sure if you wanted to do a whole nother full episode on that. I mean, I've been grinding Boston College tape for the past couple months, and this guy is a real steal. So, but we could talk about the Knicks first if you want. It's up to you.
So we actually have a subscriber question about that, about the draft. And,
Okay.
and let's just not go over it during the subscriber question. We'll do it right now in advance. At Wilson_23, you asked about what we thought about the draft for the Eagles and the Jets. We don't do this. We don't do draft coverage. We don't pretend to be fully invested into college football. We don't pretend that I don't pretend to watch some highlights and think I know something.
Speak for yourself, man. I've been grinding ACC tape for months, man. No, thank you for the question, but this is actually one thing that Andrew and I have always agreed on.
Oh my God! You're jumping on another subscriber question right now. We're gonna save this one for this actual segment, though.
All right. Let's talk Knicks. Thank you for the question. The short answer is we will find out. We don't know how any of the drafts went right now because nobody has played for the teams yet. So
I do want to say one
really
thing.
Well.
I do seriously want to say one thing about this because most sports podcasts will talk draft. Even if they don't know what they're talking about, they watch listen to a podcast, they watch ESPN, and they try to act like they're experts. They read an article in a tabloid. It's really important to us that we talk about things that either we're very knowledgeable on or at least are very passionate about.
Yes,
because there's a lot of stuff that you're very passionate about that I wouldn't say you're knowledgeable on, but your passion is the key here, like SGA and all that.
Yes.
Okay,
we'll get into that later. Yes, let's talk the real subject here.
So let's talk the Knicks. So we last recorded after Game 2, so it was 1-1.
Yes,
a lot has happened. We're not going to get into detail of Game 3, Game 4. We may bring up little things here and there. I think we're going to talk a little bit more about Game 5, about what this means going forward. We will get into the Game 4 situation. We have to talk about how that game ended. We can talk about how Game 3 ended as well. But let's just get right into Game 5. So 106-103. Knicks at home, a chance to advance to the second round. On the same night, the Celtics advance to the second round so they can be equal to the Celtics in terms of rest, days off. And instead, the Knicks took it upon themselves, specifically their two best players, Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns, to have their worst games of the season at the same time. They both have had games that are worse this season, but they haven't had a game this season where they were both terrible at the same game.
Right.
And they were both terrible on both sides of the ball. So it's hard to win the NBA when your two best players are really bad, especially when they're already defensive liabilities and they're not doing anything on offense. So it's a missed opportunity. I think as a fan, it was very frustrating watching that game because we're watching a team that just could not figure anything out offensively. Credit to the Pistons for defense. Credit for the Pistons to figuring out what the Knicks have been doing all series. And to take a step back also, Game 4, the Pistons were playing good. The Knicks weren't getting necessarily very good looks in Game 4. At least they in the first half they were, but not in the second half. Down the stretch, the reason why they won Game 4 is because Bridges hit two kind of fadeaway threes in the corner. Brunson did his typical fourth quarter hero stuff, and Cat just made some ridiculous shots. That baseline fadeaway over the backboard, and then that step back 30-foot three. Crazy shots.
Unbelievable.
But bad
shots.
looks, bad possessions that great shooters, great scorers bailed them out. In Game 5, they weren't making those shots, and the offense was terrible. The Pistons none of the Knicks actions were working. They were waiting they were getting to their first action way too late in the shot clock, so they were getting one action and then chucking up a bad shot. So credit to the Pistons, but the Knicks also just you have to get into your actions quicker. This way, if the first one doesn't work, you can go to the second one, you go to the third one. Also, one of the big things, I don't know, there must be a reason for this. I don't know if you've noticed this. The Knicks are running almost no Jalen Brunson and Cat pick and rolls.
I've noticed that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why either. The other thing that is very curious to me is they don't seem to be posting Cat up as much as they should.
He's not a good post player.
Yeah, but he's got Tobias Harris on him, though, man. I mean, you gotta seriously, no disrespect to Tobias, but
I agree. But that's the thing is they've been posting up more than they would like to. And back to that point, that you're right, they could do it more, but there's a reason they're not. Is the reason same thing as
what is the reason? I really would be very curious to hear that answer, because to me it just I get it. Maybe he's not the bet, but again, you got probably 4 inches on this guy.
Here's what's happening. The Pistons are taking away Cat's strengths and the Knicks' offensive strengths, and they're exposing his weaknesses, specifically Cat's weaknesses on offense. His two biggest weaknesses are he's not a very good screener. So maybe that's why they don't want to
soft.
They don't want to have him set screens, because they think Thompson's just going to fight right through it, get right over it. Maybe that's one reason. In terms of the post up, so Cat's actually it's very this is very kind of complex. So he's a very good to try to simplify it. Cat's a very good passer. He's a very willing passer, but he's very good at passing when he has the ball straight up. And then once he puts the ball on the floor, it's like he has tunnel vision. And it's either he just tries to drive right through, or tries to go through the defender, or tries to do a fadeaway. He forgets the fact that he could pass it after dribbling. And he doesn't have that. I think it's part of it is he doesn't have these amazing handles. I mean, he's a 7-footer. I mean,
sure.
Most 7-footers don't. So he struggles with that, and he struggles passing it out of the post.
Okay.
And he gets into this tunnel vision. You're seeing it in the series where he's trying to puts his head down, tries to bully his way in. And that's playing into the Pistons' hands, because the Pistons want to be physical with Cat. So
because he's soft.
I mean,
say
I wouldn't. I'm not going to. Come on, don't. I'm not going to say he's soft, but he's not. That's not his strength.
Yeah.
The pick and roll thing, I think, is more. I think that you can't let the Pistons dictate how you run your offense when it comes to utilizing your two best players. So they should be doing more posts for Cat, and should be running the pick and roll. They should be running the pick and roll with Brunson and Cat when they're both on the court together often. Every other possession.
Oh, I totally agree. Especially when you juxtapose that with what, I mean, I feel like that's all the Pistons did last night. I feel like Cade was just picking them apart. I mean, how many, I don't know. They just seem, the past couple games.
Cade wasn't that good, by the way.
Scoring wise, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
wasn't
but
good.
I think he very much has a command of the offense.
I agree with that.
Yeah, which is very impressive to see. I mean, he is awesome. Like I love watching this dude play. But
he didn't have a good game though. He really didn't, by the way.
Right.
But keep going.
I think he was just pick and rolling them to death. Specifically in game 5 here. There was like, how many times did he drive through the pick and then somebody was just wide open in the dunker spot? Like he got so many Thompson and Durant, these guys were like wide open underneath all game long. So it seems to me like the Pistons are executing better than the Knicks are right now. It's just like you said, like the Knicks just have so much more talent and they're hitting all these crazy shots. That's what has happened. And I think I texted you this, but every game the Pistons have had a pretty significant, not significant, but like 6 to 8 point lead in the fourth quarter of every game this series. And for whatever reason, they start to unravel, and the Knicks just hit these insane shots. And I still think that they're going to win the series, but like, you're gonna drop a couple when a lot of your offense, especially down the stretch, is just hitting incredibly difficult shots. Like some of these shots, like that step back that Brunson had towards the end of the step back Brunson had in game 4 at the end.
Side step,
the side step was just it was unbelievable. It was filthy. And then those two Towns makes were just like, I mean, what I couldn't believe he took that 30 footer. I mean, I guess he didn't really have a choice because the shot clock's winding down, but that turnaround fade was unbelievable. And that 30 footer was insane. And funny story about this. So I had to get tires on my car on Sunday. So I drop it off in the morning and I go back in the afternoon. But the guy calls me at like 2:30 or so, and he's like, "Hey, your car's going to be ready in a half hour." So I said, "All right, cool. I'm going to come down and get it." And sometimes Ryan picks out which hat he wants me to wear that day. I don't know why. He just picks random ones. And that day, he said, "Hey," and I wear it. I don't care. And that day, he just so happened to tell me to wear my 76ers hat. So I go to the car place, in a half hour after the guy calls me, and I get there, and it's like nowhere close to being ready. So I'm like, why did you tell me that my car is going to be ready? So I'm sitting there, and like as I get to the car place, the fourth quarter is just starting. So I'm watching the entire fourth quarter, and of course, it's all Knicks fans in this car place, and it's me, of course, wearing my 76ers hat, surrounded by Knicks fans. So, I'm sitting there watching the game, and it's just a funny experience because everyone was making fun of me, and I'm just like, all right, please just give me my car. You told me it was going to be ready an hour ago. Like, let me leave. I don't want to watch the game with you guys. Those shots were insane. And like the one thing I was fuming, and I think you were receiving angry texts from me because I'm just like, how does this keep happening? How does like every time, and this happened against the Sixers last year. It's like every time they're down late in the fourth quarter, just everybody hits these crazy shots, and it's like
Not everybody. It's mostly Brunson. Other than that one game, it's mostly Brunson.
Brunson, yes, and even last night in Game 5, like they hit
OG, that three.
they hit Bridges
and OG,
yeah, and it's like, of course they somehow almost stole that one too, but just the talent. There's such a discrepancy in talent that it doesn't really matter if Detroit is executing at a much higher level. At some point, talent's going to win out.
Yeah, but you're right for this series. But this is part of the problem with this team. This is you're seeing part of the issue that a lot of Knicks fans act. You know this. You make fun of it. They act like this team's won like 30 games this year. They act like this is the worst team they've ever seen, even though it's the best team they've ever seen.
Yeah,
ironically.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's a frustrating team because they don't execute. They should be better. They should be better.
Here's what I see. I see Jalen bringing the ball up the court. He dribbles the air out of the ball for 5 or 6 seconds, and then it's like, oh, I guess we should probably start to run some sort of play now. It's like, that's kind of what the James Harden experience is like. I used to drive me nuts because it's like you got all these young teams who run the ball up the court, and then they immediately start running plays and setting screens and getting into sets. And when you're watching like Harden, or in this case Brunson, it's like they walk the ball up the court, they barely cross half court by the time the 8 seconds is up, and then they dribble around for another 4 or 5 seconds, and by the time they start to get into a set, there's like 9 seconds left on the shot clock, and then at that point it's pandemonium. So
that's a weird thing that they've been doing in the playoffs, and they went away in Game 3 and 4, specifically in Game 3. They didn't do that at all. Their offense was a lot better that game.
Yeah, it was certainly a lot more free flowing. Yeah, it's just weird. I don't know. It's been entertaining to watch. But yeah, I think they'll win in Detroit the next game. But yeah, Detroit has hung with them every. I've been really impressed by them. They've given the Knicks their best shot. They maybe, again, they've been up in every fourth quarter. So they could have won at least one more game to this point, but they didn't, and here we are. What did you think? So we got to get your take on just obviously everybody wants your boy fired, but the whole Brunson Hart thing where they couldn't get him in the game.
Timeout.
Timeout situation.
Yeah. It's tough. When I was watching it, I didn't have a strong feeling of what they should do. I understood. I was like, this is really tough. They have one timeout left. There's probably going to be a stoppage at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And then as time goes on and possessions go by, it's like, now? But now.
Yeah, there wasn't a stoppage. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's...
And especially going up to that point, like there was a million stoppages. Like I feel like the fourth quarter took like an hour and a half. That's the
thing is...
And you would have thought that there was a stoppage at some point there. So, but at some point you have to recognize, hey, that like this isn't going the way that I thought it would. Like I have to do something about it. And they did have a foul give stuff. Did you just lose me? Did you lose me?
I lost you.
Okay.
Now you're back.
Okay. I don't know how what I was saying or how much you heard of what I was saying, I should say.
I heard you saying that I lost you again. Oh, here we go.
I got it.
All right. So I heard you saying that at a certain point you have to realize it's not going the way we thought it, or we have to do something like along those lines.
That was pretty much it. That was the whole point. Yeah, like I get the thought process, but you have to recognize that it's not playing out the way that I thought it was. So I have to call timeout now. But he didn't. So
he did eventually.
Yes.
Too late.
Yes.
But again, this is the thing. It's you need that. You don't want to just throw away your last time out. You expect there to be in retrospect, it was the wrong decision, but I understand that I just don't think there was a clear, this is the right way to do it in this situation.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would have made a difference anyway.
Oh,
mean,
I think it would have. They could have used. I mean, Brunson is the most clutch player in the league. I mean,
the
this guy
Knicks got really
doesn't.
good. The Knicks actually did get pretty good looks, though. I mean,
Yeah, but
Payne had a little teardrop that he makes at least 70% of the time. And I forgot they had another good look. I forgot what I think. Oh, Bridges had like a really like a 6-footer, 8-footer that he missed. They had pretty good looks, but no, I
yeah, but
obviously
none of that is JB. Like you got to get Brunson. And I get he was hurt.
no. He was. That's the thing. How many times is he going to sprain his ankle or turn his ankle in this
I
series?
don't know. I feel like he's getting a little Patrick Mahomesy, man. I don't know if I'm buying.
Oh God. Yeah.
Did you see the clip going around of the floor?
Yeah.
That
I
is
saw that.
crazy, man. Crazy.
Yeah. They should probably wipe it down.
No, it looked like it like flexed a little bit, you know? Like it looked like it kind of, I don't know, maybe it was just the angle or the lighting or something, but
I think
yeah,
that was the lighting. I think it was like just slippery.
okay. Yeah, when he took that step, it almost looked like the floor kind of bounced a little bit, and then he rolled his ankle, but barely even like rolled it, man. That thing must be in like really bad
it's
shape.
not. It's in bad. It must be in bad shape. Well, that's probably why you rolled it. When you keep rolling it, it makes it just your ankle doesn't have that support.
Yep.
So, real quickly, Cat and Brunson combined for 9 for 30. They scored 33 points on 30 shots. The Knicks aren't going to win when that happens.
Of course.
So, I think that they expect. Well, first of all, Brunson doesn't have 2 bad games in a row, so he's going to bounce back. Cat has after coming off bad games, has shown to usually bounce back and play much better. So I think the Knicks are going to win the series. I think they'll win the next game. If they have to win in Game 7, they'll probably win in Game 7. But I think the bigger picture here is you had a chance to end it in 5, to be rested for the Celtics, and now not only are they going to be less rested and more tired. How many more times is Brunson going to roll his ankle between now and the end of the series?
Yeah.
Like Josh Hart, what's his injury status? Is he playing a Game 6 and a potentially Game 7 is not going to help him? So, yeah, they really hurt their chance. Whatever chance they had of being the Celtics wasn't very high, maybe 20%, maybe less. It went down by having to play a Game 6.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you got to close them out. All of the teams in closeout games won yesterday, except for the Knicks. So that hurts.
Except for the Knicks. I do want to say a lot of the Knicks players were bad yesterday in Game 5, but there were a couple guys I think that are. I want to talk about how good they played, how well they played. I also want to talk how that's possibly. It's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's part of the problem. It's part of the solution at the same time. So first off was OG. OG was really good in this game. In the first quarter, he had 3 blocks in the first quarter. He had 5 deflections for the game. He was really good defensively. He was very good offensively too. I think he finished like 8 for 13 or something like that. OG was really good. Josh Hart had his like a quintessential Josh Hart game. He was everywhere. He was getting all loose balls. He was getting rebounds.
Tough.
He was fast breaks. Okay. But finishing on fast breaks. Josh Hart had a really good game. And Mitchell Robinson. Was really good. And the Knicks defensively were really good with Mitchell Robinson on the court. Now, that brings me to my point. Mitchell Robinson and Josh Hart were two of their 3 best players. So it makes sense to have them on the court together. But it also doesn't make sense because when they're on the court together, you have 2 non-shooters, and you're decreasing the space. You're making it too easy for the Pistons to guard Brunson, to guard Cat, to guard Bridges. So that's kind of. They were playing much better defense with those guys on the court, but it's also part of the problem for the offense. There's much less space. So I don't know the answer to that because Mitch was actually more impactful on offense than Cat was in the game because of his offensive rebounding and his screening.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, 2 non-shooters on the court really hurts your space. But I also understand why Tibbs kept going to it because they were
'Cause it was
2 of their
working.
3 best
Yeah.
players.
Yeah,
they
for
were
sure.
yeah. So if you're not scoring, you may as well try to defend.
Yeah.
So I think it was the solution and the problem in the game. And I don't know. One more thing about this though, about Cat. In game 1, his defense was actually very good, especially in like the fourth quarter during that 21-0 run, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Cat's defense was as good as I've really seen it all season. And in game 2, it was pretty good, slightly worse. In game 3, it was much worse. In game 4, it was bad. In game 5, it was terrible. So his defense has regressed throughout the series. He gets. Have you noticed that when he's brought into the action on the pick and roll, he's playing drop coverage, but instead of dropping and protecting the rim and taking away the alley-oop or the finish at the rim, or coming out and just stopping the ball handle, or it's Cade or Schroeder, he gets stuck in between. Like he's not sure what to do, and that's obviously the worst place you can be in, and it makes it too easy.
Yeah, which is why it probably, not that I was watching tape or grinding tape or watching that closely, but that's probably why all those guys were so wide open, in that dunker spot.
Yeah.
All game. Anytime they needed a bucket, that's what they would go to, and they were getting it every time.
Yeah. So Knicks need to bounce back from their 2 stars.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I think they'll get it. Knicks in 6. That's got a nice ring to it.
Knicks in 6? I don't know. Knicks in 5 would have been nice. So, anything else about the series? We never talked about Game 3. We didn't talk about Game 4. Obviously, Game 4 had this very controversial play down the stretch. We have a subscriber question referring to it, but it's not in detail about it. So, I mean, what do you want to talk about? You want to get into the Game 4? You want to get into the Game 3 play that you brought up to me before? Game 3. Before we started recording, you brought up to me that you thought the Pistons were hosed on that play.
I did think that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you're talking about the back over and back or backcourt. What's the technical rule?
I think it's called a backcourt violation. That's what it was when I was a kid.
Because isn't a backcourt violation what that's just the 8-second violation or
No. That's an 8-second violation. A backcourt violation is when
go over and back. I thought that was called actually technically called over in the back. We all just refer to it as backcourt.
Oh no, I don't know. I always thought it was the backcourt violation, but
that's how we always talked about it. But I think I could be wrong about this.
That was the nickname.
So it makes sense backcourt, right? You're in the front court. Now the rule is in the last 2 minutes. You're allowed to inbound the ball and go into the backcourt. The inbound pass is allowed to go into the backcourt. I think it's the last 2 minutes of a game.
Okay.
So that's not the question right here, right? The question is, did Brunson have the ball in the front court and then go into the backcourt? And a lot of people were very upset about this. And I thought that this was clearly refuted and understood and declared that the non-call there was right early on. That was my understanding of the situation. But is that still up in the, are people still unsure of that?
I don't know. I haven't looked into that one. I mean, that one just has gotten completely overshadowed by the Hart closeout on Hardaway. But I mean, just looking at it, it looks pretty egregious to me. Now, what are they going to say? Oh, he didn't clearly have possession. It's like, that's fucking ridiculous. He touched the ball, the clock started, and then he went, it's ridiculous. And I bet you that's what the rule is going to say. But
let me show you.
It's ridiculous.
Let me show you.
Okay, show me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just tell you what the rule is. You can disagree with the rule.
Okay.
That's fine. But before that we go into the rule,
it's from nyknicks.com, the rule. Go ahead.
Can we just state something before? If you disagree with the rule, you don't like the wording of the rule itself, that's a different conversation.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You see this?
Mm-hmm.
All right. This makes it easier. You got explanation of the rule. Rule 4, Section 6G of the NBA rulebook. So we got positive position. The rule states that a player doesn't attain front court or back court status until they have established a positive position in that half of the court. If a player is caught in the front court with the ball and their momentum carries them back into the back court, it is not a violation. So that's what happened.
Yeah, that's such a stupid. That's ridiculous. That is utterly ridiculous.
But the call was right. The non-call was right, though.
Sure. Okay. The call. I mean, yes, I guess, but that's the stupidest shit I've ever. That's so dumb. He touches
So what
the
do you
ball
think
and go. I think that takes out like half of the strategy. Oh, so you could just run towards the back, and if you're running that way, then you can touch it. It's like it doesn't make any sense. What does momentum mean? So if my momentum is carrying me, what if I line up at the free throw line, and I just start running back, and they give me the ball? Like, no, but my momentum carried me. I would just say, oh no, it's my momentum. It just kept carrying me. Like, it's so stupid. You can't.
What are you talking about? Hold on. I'm not disagreeing. I'm very open to them changing that rule, making it a little bit more stricter. But I don't know your example. I don't really understand. You're running from the free throw line.
I'm exaggerating, but like you're saying, oh, if someone's momentum is carrying them over half court, then it's like, okay, so what if my I don't know. I think it's dumb. Like, what if my momentum? Who determines when my momentum is? When I'm
but okay, but I understand what you're saying, but on that play, there's definitely some subjectivity to it. But you would agree on that play, Brunson didn't have he clearly didn't have established possession with and then go into the backcourt. He started the possession, having possession, and by the time he completed established possession, he was in the backcourt.
Yes, but that to me is stupid. Like that he's got to stop. He has to stop on a dime. It's just like, to me.
Okay, but that doesn't get hosed. Again, it's a different conversation.
Right, but to me, it might as well be like out of bounds. So like, what if you touch it and you step on that line while you're touching it, or your momentum carries you? Like, if your momentum carries you out of bounds, and like you're out of bounds.
But it's the opposite. I understand what you're saying, but it's hard to look at it that way, because it's almost like the way you're talking about is if you were already out of bounds, not trying to go inbounds, because it's the
yes.
It's like reverse. So I don't know. Right. The momentum thing doesn't really make as much sense there.
Okay, but take away an inbounds play. Just take away if it was an inbounds. Let's say if someone if a team dribbled the ball, they crossed half court, and then for whatever reason, they're in a panic and they go back towards the backcourt line. Like, if that happened just from the aftermath,
that's a violation.
Right.
That's a violation.
So the fact that I'm inbounding it should make it.
No. It does.
Stupid.
Okay. Because you don't have. Okay. So if a player, forget about an inbounds play, has the ball, crosses the timeline, gets into the front court, and then passes it back to a different teammate, and he's running back towards the back court, that would still apply there. Oh wait, sorry, you can't go in the back court at all out there. So that was never mind.
Yeah.
But it's hard to compare, because in this situation they're allowed to pass the ball into the back court.
Yes.
So it's different.
But it's just dumb. Again, I agree with you that it's different, but it's to me it's just so dumb. Like, it's just stupid.
Okay.
Like, throw it in the back court. That's kind of the whole point of that's the point of throwing it in the back court. So you can open it up more.
Let me ask you this. Wouldn't you just prefer no special rule for 2 minutes? You can pass into the back court, pass into the front court.
Maybe, yeah.
Wouldn't that make this easier? This whole thing?
Yeah. Let's not get bogged down, because nobody cares about this one. So let's not
Okay, so
let's
let's
not
go
get
on to
back to
the other issue. So I have a bunch of things to say about this, and do you have any idea? Can you guess where I stand on the game 4 play, the Josh Hart non-foul call
on the actual play, or
on the actual play? And yeah, give your prediction for what my take is in general. Then, if there's more to it, because there is more to it. But yeah, tell me.
I think you're gonna say that it was a foul. I mean, how could you not?
Yeah, okay, yeah, okay. That's it.
Everybody knows it's a foul. I mean,
No, Knicks fans that are completely biased don't know that.
yeah, that is like, then you just don't. If you can't admit to yourself that that's a foul, then you are
Okay.
a moron. Like, you are an idiot. You can say, like, the freaking Josh Hart told you it was a foul. Towns was smirking with his dumb sunglasses on post game in the press conference. Like, good God, he is just such a dork. But the players knew it was a foul. Everybody knew it was a foul. I just,
Mhm.
I really can't believe that they didn't call that, specifically because, if you look, the official was right there. He was 18 inches away from this play, and it's like, I don't know how they didn't call that. That's a really big hose job in that spot. But yeah, it was
Okay.
obviously clearly a
So
foul, and it should have been called. And I'm not. I don't know. I think it was just a really bad job by the refs. Should have been called. Whatever. It didn't get called. Knicks really, really, really benefited from that no call.
okay. So I agree completely. Now I have a bunch of thoughts on this stuff. So let me just try to cover it all. I'm probably gonna forget some of them. So it was clearly a foul, 100%. The Knicks got lucky. The Knicks got really lucky they didn't call it. Like, why why do fans feel so attached? Like, don't say my team didn't, they got lucky. Don't say like who, it's okay.
Dude, take
Like,
the win, man.
yeah,
Take the win. I would be saying, yeah. Why can't you just say, hey, yes, we did,
yes.
whatever. I'll take it, whatever. And
It should
yes,
have been it was a foul. They should have called it. We got lucky they didn't. They won the game because of that, because of the refs made a mistake.
right.
Great. That's it. We don't need to. You don't need to. Oh well, Tobias fouled Hart
Yeah.
before that. Like,
Yeah.
oh, but the game. This is what everybody says. Like, oh, but the way the game was called. Oh, okay. You can't. You could say other plays throughout the game could have been fouls, but that's just because they called the game a certain, doesn't mean that wasn't a foul. That was a foul. Now, some people might say they let so many fouls go throughout the game that they should let. Okay, that's fine. You could think that they should not call it, but it was a foul. You could say that based on everything they let go throughout the game, I think that it's somewhat reasonable that they didn't call it. That's a fine take, but it was still a foul in every sense of the word of the ruling of a foul. And the Knicks got lucky that they didn't call it, because they very well could have called it, and most officials would have called it.
Yeah, I think, and unfortunately for Hardaway, like, a star player gets that whistle. Like, he just does. I'm sorry. Like, Brunson gets that whistle 10 times out of 10. But yeah, it's not the only reason why they lost. Like, they could have done other things,
Of
but
course not.
that was and it's not. Excuse me. It's not the only reason why the Knicks won, but it was a really big contributing factor in the win.
Yeah, for
Hardaway
sure.
shoots 85% from the free throw line. So does he make
No,
all
he would.
three?
The
I
game.
don't know. Does he make
No, he
two?
doesn't have.
Probably.
Yeah, no. The game. Yeah,
It at
no.
least goes to overtime.
You can't even go by like, oh, he could have missed. I wouldn't even, like, that's a moot point. The point is that it was a 1-point game, and he was fouled on a 3-point shot.
Right.
So
And there's a difference between, like, being physical. Like, I don't know. It's also, I think there is a little bit of a difference between being physical for, say, and over the back or a loose ball foul and like a blatant shooting foul. Like that is, it just doesn't get more
what
obvious.
about if you're driving to the basket and you get more and you take more is that's in your mind more acceptable to let things go, let them play more than on like a shooting foul?
Yes, yeah.
Because I don't necessarily agree with that concept. I think
the
that
shooting
a foul's a foul.
I can agree with that, but I could also just see how letting things go and letting a game be more physical. Because listen, a regular season game, there's so much more of these like ticky tack fouls, which is annoying and it's not as fun to watch. But with something like this, like physical guys are going to drive to the hoop, guys are going to get banged up. Not everything is going to get called, but like specifically over the past few years, like since the Zaza Pachulia play on Kawhi, like they've been very protective of shooters, specifically 3-point shooters. So like you really can't make any sort of contact with them, and you can't even land in their space. So like I don't know, the fact that he just really just ran into him on a closeout, and just to see like and usually like, you know, sometimes it's one of those things, and I don't agree with this, but you'll see a lot of times in NBA games where like, you know, the ref will kind of wait to see if the shot goes in before he blows the whistle or not. And this is like, it was so clearly like it didn't even didn't even make it halfway to the basket. So yeah, I don't know. I think it was pretty lame, but whatever. What are you gonna do? Just be happy. If that happened to my team, I'd be super happy. I'd feel like we got away with one, but like I'm taking it and running.
You don't think that you would have some sort of emotional attachment and be like, no, like, yeah, it was a foul, but this and that. Like, you don't think you would be a little defensive about it?
I think I would be defensive if it was more subjective. If it was if it was this clear and obvious, like I have two eyes. Like I can be biased, but I still have two eyes.
But that's the problem, is our bias and our emotions impact our objectivity. So
I would never let that happen to me. So
So anyway, by the way, thinking about this, if it was vice versa, and the Knicks got, and the Pistons, and it was the Knicks were shooting the three, and the Pistons fouled them, and it wasn't called, I would be very frustrated and very annoyed. But my main focus wouldn't be about the call; it'd be about the rest of the game.
Right. Yeah.
So I think from the other perspective, Pistons players, Pistons fans, solely being focused on that, I don't agree with that either.
Yeah.
But I also understand, like, that was really frustrating, and they feel like they were cheated out of a game, and the rest blew it, and rightfully so. So I understand why that takes over all their thoughts and all their blame and criticism.
Yeah, it just sucks to see a game, such a back and forth game end on that. You know, that was an amazing game, right? The Pistons were down big in the first half. They came and clawed their way back. They ended up taking a pretty big lead in the third quarter. And then the Knicks do the thing where they just chip away and kind of suffocate them. And then it seemingly, all came down to that moment. And Detroit, they got hosed.
I saw a funny comment. I think it was, I don't know if it was like a comment on a YouTube video or on X, but it was clearly a Knicks fan that said, someone posted about how the 2-minute report, confirmed that it was a missed call.
Yeah.
An incorrect, they called it incorrect non-call. I think it's like INC, incorrect non-call on the 2-minute report. And then clearly a Knicks fan, commented saying they also, the 2-minute report also confirmed that Tobias Harris fouled Josh Hart. And I looked at the 2-minute report and it clearly said correct non-call. Where do people get this from?
That is great, man. Oh my god!
I saw that like maybe 20 minutes after looking at it, because I love to look at those 2-minute reports.
Yeah.
And by the way, I like to look at them, but I also, like, people put way too much stock in them. They think like that's determining if the game was called fairly or not.
So I honestly don't. I just don't even see the point of them. Like all they do is make people mad. Like that. What other purpose does that serve other than pissing off Pistons fans?
So I actually have an answer to that.
Really, I'd love to hear.
Yeah. And you could say maybe it shouldn't be made public, but the idea is to hold officials accountable
Mm.
and for the league to be transparent. So people know,
Yeah.
hey, this official made a mistake. We're saying he made a mistake. We're holding him accountable. Or her
Yeah,
accountable.
that does not need to be public information. Keep that within the NBA, and you know what? Fire, like I don't know how many strikes.
I appreciate
do you get?
it. I like
what's
it.
I don't.
But you also know,
I don't.
there's a while we're on the subject of this 2-minute report, like anything else, like everything else, there's a lot of misinformation or misunderstanding of what the 2-minute report covers. Do you know what it covers? It's okay.
No, I mean I mean I just assumed that it covers fouls and calls that were called and calls that weren't. Calls that weren't made.
All calls that were close, impactful to the game, could have been made in the final 2 minutes.
Yeah.
A fourth quarter overtime.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, but with a really important caveat. All these plays have to be within 3 points, or the score should be within 3 points or less. So if someone's up by 4 points, that's not in the 2-minute report, even though that's a really yeah.
Interesting.
So isn't that kind of just like a silly thing to leave out?
Yes.
Like, 4-point game, 2 possession. We don't need it. It's not important.
4-point game with 1:59. Doesn't matter. Wow, it's interesting.
Yeah, and I don't think most people even would have any idea about that. So anyway, okay, Game 6 in Detroit, Thursday night.
Motown.
Let's hope they close it out.
Yeah.
All right, I don't have anything else on that series. Anything in the NBA? I mean, the Pacers dominated. I was close with my bold prediction. They won in 5. The gentleman's sweep.
The gentleman's sweep, yeah. Although the Bucks almost brought that back to Milwaukee. I'm sure you saw how that ended.
Oh, that was insane. that overtime. Oh my God, yeah,
insane. Man.
I didn't see it live. I was watching the Knicks, but I saw it after the fact.
Yeah. Oh, you watched the highlights.
And then,
wow, look at you.
Watched the highlights.
I watched can't get a sense of how the game went.
I have no sense of how the game went. I just know how overtime went. And
yeah, so your bold prediction did not come true. Mine looks like it's not going to come true. My
Clippers down 3-2, Lakers down 3-1.
Yes, my beloved Thunder complete the sweep, utter domination of Memphis. No surprise there. Playoff Jimmy is back. Say it. 14 points in the fourth quarter.
I'm going to let this play out more. I'm going to let it play out more.
Okay.
Dude, I promise you that if he continues on this path in the playoffs, I will admit that there's something to him in the playoffs. But I'm not going to go there yet because I want to let it play out. They're down by 20 points right now, by the way. I have no idea how he's doing, but they're down by 20.
Really? Didn't that game just start?
We started when we started.
Wow, that's shocking. All right. Oh my God, they're down 23.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Yeah, playoff Jimmy's back. That's great. So I want to mention my Oklahoma City take. So people got very mad at me for this, man.
Hold on, can before you mention your take, you have any other thoughts about our Fanatics and Analytics production team here?
I don't know what you mean.
Our producer. Do you know who our producer is?
Yes, you.
Okay. Decided to clip that 9 minutes and post it on YouTube, or 13 minutes, whatever it is.
Yes.
And it's doing well. People like it. People are watching it.
People don't like it.
People are clicking on it. They're getting so angry with you, and then they're commenting on it, and they're subscribing so they can watch more of me and you argue, which is going to be a subscriber question, by the way.
Good. So clip this. All right. I want to just give a little more context behind what I mean.
Oh,
So
no. Oh,
no,
no.
no, it's okay.
Oh,
It's okay.
no. Because, no, it's not okay, but go. I'll tell you what
It's
I
all
think
right.
you're doing
It's
afterwards.
okay. No, I'm not doing. I just want to explain. People get so mad. So here's the thing. I consume a fair amount of basketball media, and
Not okay.
within basketball media, there's obviously there's a million different accounts and podcasts and all that stuff out there, but from what I can see, there are two main media, I guess, two main mediums within the basketball landscape, and both of them are very different. The first one is ESPN, which
Traditional.
which is basically just Jordan on who's the GOAT. Um, they spend all their time basically talking about Steph Curry and LeBron James. And that's kind of boring, right? There's not really much to say on that. Oh, did you lose me? Am I back?
I've lost you. You're back and not back. Your audio's back. Your video's
Oh,
not.
no. Oh, no. How about now?
Now you're good. You're good.
Okay.
Now you're not.
At what point did you lose me at? Oh, no.
No, I've heard the whole thing. No, leave and come back in.
Okay.
Wonder what he's going to have to say here. Hopefully we get him back. Is he here? Waiting on him. There he is.
I'm back.
He's back.
All right. So what did you hear?
You started talking about the basketball mediums,
Yes.
media outlets, and traditional ESPN. They just talk about LeBron and Steph Curry,
Yes.
and you're like, okay, there's nothing. Yeah, whatever. And now you're going to get into the
Yes.
other one, which is the podcast, and then they get. You've already said this before. We know
No,
it. We know
I haven't
it.
said this on the podcast though. I've said this to you on the phone.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, traditional ESPN, LeBron versus Jordan doesn't really give much in-depth analysis. On the flip side, you have people who, a lot of them have actually left ESPN and they've gone and started their own thing. And I think that they
Podcast.
have so much despise for ESPN and they mock ESPN so much to the point where they go so far in the other direction and they talk about things that are just like that are, it's almost like they're trying too hard to like create to create narratives and make things interesting. And I just think that there's like some middle ground, and that's all.
Oh well, that part's true.
Yes.
There is middle ground, but you could want that middle ground. That middle ground could be for you, but that doesn't mean that they're trying too hard and talking about things that don't matter. They're just things that aren't important to you, things that you can't get into.
If you want to, like, here's the thing, and watch, this is going to bite me in the ass because of the game.
It is.
But because of the game that's going on right now. But I had to hear for weeks straight about, the Rockets they're gonna wipe the floor with the Warriors this series because I
don't think a lot of
who do you listen
to that said that?
Because Jalen Green and Şengün and like they play hard defense. It's like, yeah, but the other team has Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry, and sometimes it's that easy. So I don't want to hear about Şengün, like, because they had a nice regular season and they tried hard. Like there's middle ground. I don't want to hear about Austin Reeves. Like, it's not. I don't listen to Lakers podcasts. If you are a Lakers podcast, then talk about Austin Reeves and how fine he is. Like, don't sit here and try to tell me how great Austin Reeves is. I don't care. I do not care. He's not very good. He's fine. He's a guy who plays next to LeBron and Luka. He's not very good.
I can't get into this with you.
So that's it. I just don't need the pompous. Oh well, if you don't think Şengün is good, then you don't know what you're talking about.
Why are you listening to these podcasts then?
Because
that is the most ridiculous thing.
I think that a lot of the stuff is interesting and I find it thought provoking. But you want a podcaster? I want a middle ground.
You want a podcaster to talk exactly about what you care about and only what you care about. Nothing else.
That's right.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
Cater to
Dude,
me,
I don't know.
national podcast.
Yeah.
Cater to me.
Yeah. I whatever.
But do you know what I'm saying, though? I mean, everyone's going to sit
I
here
disagree
and
with what you're saying. I don't disagree that you don't like it. That's fine.
I don't think that anyone really likes it. I think that they have to pretend to like it. Here's the thing. The worst thing that you can be called, and I know you wouldn't know this, but like one of the worst insults on Twitter that gets thrown around like within basketball spheres is casual. Like, oh, you're just a casual. Oh, oh, you don't know. Oh, you're just a cat. Like that's like a very bad insult on NBA Twitter.
Oh no.
So I think that in order to
I'm
not be a casual, you have to go so far to the other side. And at that point, then you have to start talking about,
Hold on a second, though. I understand your point here. There might be some truth to what you're saying.
Oh my God, Ahmed Thompson. Oh my, you know, it's like
Hold on.
Here's Jimmy Butler. Ahmed Thompson. Have fun.
There may be some truth to what you're saying, where people feel like they have to go in the opposite way. They have to like go to the extreme. You do that all the time for things, but
I would never.
But just because that's true doesn't mean when they're talking about a certain player's skill sets, that doesn't means that's not true. You see what I'm saying?
I don't
they could be talking about
saying.
They could be talking about how Amen Thompson's a really good defensive player and he rotates and gets deflections and great one-on-one and he's physical and does a lot of different stuff. He's really athletic. Like that could be true, and you could be just annoyed that they're talking about it because you don't particularly care about building him up. You want to talk about things that are more relevant to your interests.
I just think they go too far with it. Like I just think they go too far with it. I just do. Like a very good portion of people are
just watch First Take. Just watch First Take.
No, all right. So that's too ridiculous.
You just watch First Take.
Here's the thing. I actually really enjoy watching the Rockets too. Like I think that they're a lot of fun to watch. They're athletic and they're young and they're hungry and they play like
you don't like them because people talk them up.
No, I don't. I just don't like. Just slow your roll. Like why isn't it like, hey, maybe these guys like
slow.
It's like, hey, why
slow?
Why can't it be? Hey, these guys are going to be like really good next year if they like can get someone who can create a little bit for themselves. But instead, it's they're gonna take down the Warriors because Steph Curry's old. Like that. That's the
okay.
It's like it's just not. He's still Steph Curry.
I listen to basketball.
He's Steph Curry.
I listen to
and it's Jimmy Butler.
NBA podcasts.
And it's Draymond Green.
I listen to NBA podcasts, and a lot of them were picking the Warriors. So you're generalizing a lot, very significantly here to make your point. All right, but anyway, I get it. Let's move on.
Okay, let's move on.
You didn't really defend your OKC and SGA take. You just complained about how basketball culture.
Well, SGA is the poster child for that. So
he's not. He's a poster child of scoring 34 points a game and being the second best player in the league.
You're right. The Thunder are the poster child for that.
Oh God. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, 68-14, poster child for being built up and not actually that good. Anyway,
subscriber questions.
Subscriber questions. All right. I got making his third appearance on subscriber questions. Stu Mill 27. This is obviously in reference to what we were talking about earlier, the Game 4 scenario. Do you think there should be an automatic review of all last second, fourth quarter plays where the outcome of the game is potentially affected?
So when you first asked that question, my immediate thought was no. Like, I think reviews in basketball are just brutal and they're awful. I think the only sport that should do reviews is football.
Not baseball?
I guess, sure. Baseball is mostly pretty easy. Either they're out or they're not. You know, did this guy catch the ball before he got yes? So that's fine. But basketball,
unless it becomes a strike ball. But
basketball, yeah, okay. I feel it's a relatively newer thing, right? Like the past 10 years, it's been take
Yeah,
advantage of that.
something like that.
And I just
Yeah.
think they're brutal. I think they slow the game down so much. So like my initial thought is
Yes.
the fourth quarter, like F no. But
These are two separate questions, though.
as you read it again, I'm thinking like if it's within like the final like I don't know 30 seconds maybe maybe that wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. What do you think?
Well, he said a last second play, so I don't know what that if he literally means like at the buzzer. I don't know exactly what that means, but I think. By the way, I think you brought up a separate issue. The challenge situation in the NBA is terrible. How long it takes. I think that's a separate question. I think that's a separate topic and a separate discussion. Like, what can we do? What can the NBA do to make that better? Make their review process better. So I think, first of all, my instinct on this is no, because I don't think it makes sense to like auto review a last second play, but not any play throughout the game. Because that's just going off the emotion so that we're watching the game that last second play mattered. Which it seems to us like it matters more, but is it really fair to then say, "Oh, we corrected this call, but there was a blatantly wrong call we made against the other team in the second quarter with 6 minutes left." That just seems like kind of not fair.
Yeah, 2 points is 2 points, whether you scored in the second quarter or at the end of the game.
Now, I would be open to something like they do in the NFL. Like at the end, last 2 minutes of the first half, last 2 minutes of the second half, officials can either deem something, let's review it, we're not sure, it's close, or maybe even better, someone at the end, in the NBA, the review place it's a caucus, and someone just buzzes down and says, "Well, this one was blatantly wrong. Stop and correct this call."
Right.
I don't know how quickly they can do that. I don't know how realistic that is. They have more time in the NFL, but I think something like that I'd be very open to. But in general, the review, like you said, dude, like the review system, it takes so long. It's so bad.
Yeah, and also you can't really most of the how can I say this? The overwhelming majority of like reviews in the NBA are was this a foul or not? Whereas in the NFL, we're reviewing was this a catch? Did he complete the catch through the process? Did he break the plane? Right?
Yeah,
was he inbounds?
Yeah.
Did he stretch the
Did he
ball
fumble?
Right, exactly. So
was he down? Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine if in the NFL? And remember, they tried this for a year, and it was awful. They reviewed
pass interference.
Right.
They tried it with pass interference.
Right.
Yeah.
So could you imagine? What we're suggesting would be the NFL equivalent of reviewing every call or non-call. So every time they snap the ball, the coach could say, "Hey, my guy was held on this play," and then they'd go back and review it. So I think it would just take too long. But
that's a very good point.
Yeah, I don't know. My initial gut is to say no, but there might be some sort of interesting way, like you said, where they could make it more fair.
So we are on the same page. No, with the current review system or any way that we can feasibly see this working out currently. But if there's a way to do it, I would obviously like this not to happen.
Yeah.
We'd like games not to end like that. Okay. At TayLewis_94, I've never seen two friends disagree so much on everything and still get along. Then he goes into I'm not going to go into the whole thing about SGA, whatever, but he said, "Sistad, do you really believe the stuff you're saying, or are you just trying to stir the pot?"
There
were some curse words in there that I took out for the
really?
for YouTube.
Oh man,
yeah,
this
for you
was passionate.
Yeah, it was passionate. Yeah.
I think I mostly agree, or I mostly believe the stuff that I'm saying. Do I lay it on a little extra thick? Yeah, I do. I like to troll. I like to get a rise out of people. I think it's funny. I think it's funny that people get super mad or worked up because some guy that they'll never see in real life or never come across had a sports opinion that's different than yours. I don't know. I just think that is just kind of funny. I get it because I also get like, I don't think I get like mad at people, but like, yeah, I get annoyed and just think, wow, what was this guy an idiot? So
Most of your SGA take and Thunder take is about you being annoyed about what people talk about. You just said it earlier.
yeah, but I also like, I don't know. I'm not
Oh
gonna like
man,
go curse at them or anything. Like I'm gonna say,
you're not going to comment and like, yeah, no, I get it. I know there's
yeah, I'm
different
not gonna,
levels of it for sure.
yeah,
I have a take on this question.
okay.
I think we mostly agree.
You do? Oh, I don't.
Yeah, because I think we mostly agree. We agree more than we disagree on topics. What we disagree on is the details and the way that we disagree on the way that you describe or defend or explain your takes. That's, I think, where we really get into the disagreement, when you start explaining something in a way and I'm like, well, that's not true. That's not true. Well, but I think in general, on the general topic, we actually tend to agree a lot.
Interesting. I don't know.
Well,
That's a good.
also,
I'll have to start keeping tabs on that.
one more thing about that is sometimes we'll talk about a topic before we record, maybe the day before, maybe we're just talking, or maybe right before we hit the record button. And if it's a topic and it's like, what do you think about this? Oh yeah, I think that. Oh yeah, I agree. Like, we're purposely not gonna get into that.
Yes.
No, there's nothing entertaining about that.
Right.
So I think also from a podcast perspective, a podcast listener perspective, that's an aspect to consider, is that we're purposely staying away from topics that we're just like, yeah, I think this. Yeah, I agree. All right.
Yeah. Great. See you next week.
Yeah. So that does make it seem like we disagree more.
Yes, that makes sense. I think
I guess
the
a
one
better
thing
way to
that I think that the thing that is very similar with you and I think the one thing that's always made you and I good friends is I feel like we have a very similar sense of humor. So,
yes, yes,
I think that's what makes us get along so well, is that we're both very sarcastic and we're very dry. And
for sure.
that's how we've gotten along so well over the many years here.
For sure. All right. So we're not mocking New York fans on Twitter this week. Instead, we're replacing it with, I don't know what we should call this, a little bit about the pod, maybe. Is that good? No?
We could do
You
better,
don't like
but for now, yeah.
For
it's on
now,
the fly
okay.
here. Yeah.
Short-term future of the podcast. We're working on a couple of things. We're going to I'll tease this without saying the actual person. We're going to have a pretty prominent sports media guest on the pod in the coming weeks. Well, as soon as we have a firm date and a plan for it, when the episode will be out, we will let you all know. So that's exciting. We're not going to say who it is yet.
Yep.
Stay tuned.
It's SGA. Yeah.
He's not a prominent sports media. He's a prominent sports person. And then next week we're gonna have a special episode. You want to tell them about the episode?
Sure. I will be, for those of you who love the stupid stuff that I say, I will be hosting my first ever solo episode. It's going to be great, and we are going to mourn. So if you've noticed it's really only been a couple of times now, but when one of our team's season ends, we call it Let's Mourn This Team's Season. And I will be mourning the 76ers 2024-2025 campaign.
Wonderful season for them.
What'd you say?
I said wonderful season for them.
Yep.
Couldn't have gone any better.
That's right.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
It's going to be good. Hopefully we'll gain some subscribers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you want to tell them why I'm doing a solo pod?
Yeah, so I'm going to be gone for probably 2 weeks. And although we'll see. And I'm going on parental leave. Can we call it parental leave from the podcast?
We can call it parental leave. What
Yeah, I'm expecting my
paternity.
first child.
Yes.
So very excited. And yeah, a few days away. Maybe less, maybe more.
Yeah, that's
And
great, man. That's really exciting. And yeah, we can't wait to hear all about it. I love you. I'm super happy for you. And
thank you.
yeah, I'll be thinking about you guys, man. And I'm really excited to just see pictures and hear all the stories. So we will. I will hold it down for us over here. Don't worry. But we're
should I be
looking
worried?
forward to having you back. You should be a little worried, yeah. Me left to my own devices, talking
No.
sports. I don't know.
The Sixers episode's going to be great, and I seriously think that you're going to enjoy doing your own episode. Like, just
We'll
think
see.
about not having someone cut you off, not having someone question everything you say.
Yeah.
You know, that's nice.
Yeah. We'll let the commenters do all of that.
They don't question what you say; they just ridicule you.
They just make fun, which is fine.
Were there any comments in that video that stood out to you that you thought were like really funny or just over the top? Because they weren't that bad.
I don't remember. They weren't that bad, but there was a lot. There was a lot of them. Not a lot, but relatively speaking, probably the most commented on video that we've had, right?
I think so. Let me pull it up. Let me see. I think it was. Let's see here. View your channel. All right, let me share the screen. Screen shared. All right. I'm assuming you can see this.
Yes.
All right.
Wow,
so
1.13, huh? Nice.
1.13. 1.13.
Wow, last time I checked it was like 1.05.
It's been going up from some of these. How do I get to...
Go to videos.
I can just do it this way. This... Okay. Let me go back.
Oh,
wait. How do I do this? This is not the best way to do it.
Just go to videos.
You go to videos?
Yep, and then go to the video. Right there.
Where is it?
Right down.
Here. All right. I don't do it this way because I go on.
Just click on it. What are you doing? Just click.
But then it plays the video.
All right, then you can mute it. I would be, or pause it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then now scroll down. Are you
can't just click on
it. No,
it's a phantom view. I don't want phantom views.
Scroll down.
And then it messes with our analytics of watching the whole video. I don't want to mess with that.
Oh, see, look, casual. That's me.
A real fan. I was very close to asking who the real fan and who the casual fan is.
Ooh, that's the first insult you can get. You should tell him to name all the teams who are better than the Thunder and all the guards that are better than SGA.
The problem with that is you would just start naming people. It doesn't make it true.
Right. Yeah. Don't tempt me, man. I will rattle them off quicker than you could.
Yeah.
Quicker than you could think.
All right, and then this one. This one bothered you. Because your take is that everyone talks up the Thunder and defends the Thunder and talks about how great they are.
They do.
All right. So not according to this person. This one's so funny. Why did he say guy in the blue hat? First of all, only one of us had a hat on. And secondly, wasn't it like a Sixers hat or like a Eagles hat? Or I think it was an Eagles hat.
It was a Phillies hat. Yeah.
Oh, it was a Phillies hat.
Yeah.
Guy in the blue hat. What? I thought that was funny. He does not understand how to argue at all. 16 and 14, and he's talking about basketball culture. Well, you did that again today, so.
I did?
All right. Yeah, talked about basketball culture as opposed to...
I'm talking about basketball media. The way basketball is covered, not basketball culture. Well, I guess there's a little bit of that in it, too.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I don't think those comments are... Look, people are engaged. They like the video.
Yeah. All good. I'm happy. They're engaged.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
That's it, man. Good luck to you. Yeah, keep me posted. Good luck to your Knicks. And I will see you on the other side. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Please give us a like. Subscribe. No. Subscribe, though.
Yes.
Give them a second to subscribe. Hold on. You got to put pressure on them, like sales, right? You're always be closing.
They're feeling the heat right now, man.
Yeah, always be closing in sales. Always be subscribing. All right. Everyone, thanks. We'll see you next time.
Philly pride insists that's all. Andrew rapping and Wild Bulls. Together they talk sports and dreams. Right behind the scenes. It seems. Philly and Wild. Hear the call. Who's the greatest? Who will fall with this rivalry? Loud and clear. Join the chat. It's time to hear. Sports and culture all in one. Catch the fire, feel the fun. Andrew, sis, that Brad unite. Philly